and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Great show tonight, but before we start, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Swiss America. Our country's facing so many problems these days under Joe Biden. The last thing any of us need is more to worry about. Unfortunately, we now have to fear losing our freedom and privacy with the Democrats' new push for a digital dollar that could allow the government to tell us what we can and cannot buy with our own hard-earned money. That's why I'm encouraging every one of you tuning into the show right now to get The Secret War on Cash, an insightful report created by my friends at Swiss America. With this report, you'll learn how to protect yourself from the threats facing our freedom and your hard-earned money. The report is available right now to my listeners free of charge. Just call 800-289-2646 or visit www.swissamerica.com/Trump for your free report. Get ready for some good tea today. We've got the ladies here. We are joined tonight by the host of Underreported Stories with Chrissy Clark. Chrissy Clark, welcome back. And news and commentary writer for the Daily Caller, Kay Smythe. Chrissy and Kay, welcome back, girls. Let me ask you both. I'm going to start with you, Kay. How did you spend your Trans Visibility Day? Did you celebrate? Did you? This is the talk of everything right now, right? Because Biden White House, some genius over there decided that although I get it, Trans Visibility Day, whatever the hell that means, March 31st is the day that someone designated, I believe in 2009, for this day. It happened to coincide with Easter this year, and no one over there had the idea that, I don't know, maybe the holiest day on the Christian calendar, perhaps we could just move Trans Visibility Day. I don't know, a day earlier, a day later. April Fool's Day would be a good day for that, in my opinion. How'd you celebrate, Kay? How'd it go for you?
Yeah, no, well, there's no like actual Christians in the White House. There's a lot of like pretend ones who, I don't know what the phrase is out here that you would like use to describe the sort of faux Christian ideals that our current administration pushes. So the fact that they did this, again, I go back between, do they do these things on purpose to sort of incite greater division and frustration? And particularly, I think for like us women, how scary it is whenever our elected leaders push rhetoric like this, because we don't know what that means down the line for like our safety, for our spaces. So there's part of me that goes to the mindset, oh, okay, they're doing this to scare us, to make us feel like other. But then I also go to the mindset of like, well, I've seen these people do really stupid stuff. They could literally just be that stupid and have just not checked the calendar to realize how disrespectful they were being in indulging mental illness instead of treating it. So I spent my day of trans visibility avoiding social media like the plague. And I was surrounded by family, and it was great. And everyone had a nice, normal Easter Sunday. Didn't find any chicken eggs this year. We did last year. That was like kind of exciting.
Like actual chicken eggs?
No idea where they came from. We went into the barn, and there was like 15 of them in there. And so we checked them, and they were all fresh. And we used to have chickens that lived in the trees outside. I'm pretty country. Like, don't listen to the accent.
Yeah, I know your accent doesn't lend itself to me thinking you're like out in the sticks somewhere, but I love this. And I love nothing more than a fresh egg. Don't tempt me with a good time because I'll take it. Those eggs where they've got the yolk that's like almost orange. I know we're getting sidetracked here, but I do love a good egg. Did you eat those eggs, by the way?
Yeah, we did. A few of them went rotten, so we just threw them into the field, which was its own type of fun and, just very cathartic. But it's, that's like the great thing about living out in sort of the wilds of America. I mean, I even have friends that live in the city that get chickens now. And it is, you can, you can really taste the difference. You can definitely taste the difference between fresh and the sort of really over, I mean, I don't even know if you can call them eggs. Some of those ones that you get in the supermarket.
Who knows what happens to those eggs? And I don't think we want to know what happens to those eggs, but I'm probably eating them anyway.
Me too.
Chrissy, Raphael Warnock, the senator from Georgia, said that anyone who was upset about this Trans Visibility Day falling on Easter and the celebration at the White House for the Trans Visibility Day, these people were critics who were aiming to divide us, he said. I kind of tend to agree with Kay that anyone who would do something like this is actually the one who is trying to divide us. Vivek Ramaswamy had an interesting tweet. I just want to read it. He said, Joe Biden declaring the most holy day for Christians as Transgender Visibility Day is a slap in the face to every American, whatever their faith. Now the White House is banning any religious symbol on Easter eggs. We're in the middle of a war in this country, and take it from a Hindu, that isn't a Christian nationalist talking point. What do you think?
Oh, that's a really good point. And, I was listening to a pastor talk about this visibility issue and how you should vote as a Christian. And what I found so compelling about it is he constantly says we should vote for the people who really don't have a voice. And leftists take that to mean we should be standing up for LGBT people, women, people who were traditionally marginalized in the grand scheme of history. The problem is that when we have a transgender day of visibility, we're giving visibility to quite literally the most visible group I have ever seen in America. They comprise like the smallest portion of the population, but you never miss them. You see them in corporations, you see them on Bud Light cans, you see them quite literally everywhere in all marketing and all advertising. And let's be honest, I prefer my pastels on my body in the form of maybe a blazer instead of in my hair. You cannot miss these people. And so when I was listening to this pastor really speak about visibility of marginalized groups, he really was talking about homeless people, the unborn. But people don't want to talk about that. So there's these progressive leftists like to co-opt Christianity to fit their beliefs of something that's just simply not true anymore. There's plenty of visibility for LGBT people. It's 2024. You can't unsee anything nowadays. It's in our elementary school curriculum. So the fact that they're trying to make visibility a thing for transgender people on Easter, when really as Christians we should be trying, at least attempting, to vote for people who are going to help the unborn and the really marginalized. I mean, that was just a co-opt in so many different facets.
Yeah, and do we need a day for everything? Does everything
No.
have to have like
We don't
a
need a
day,
flag
a
for everything
month?
either.
Like
Mhm.
honestly, obviously we're all women here. We're biological women. Let me clarify for all of the folks on the left who love this show. Biological women here. I don't know. Well, like, what do we do during Women's History Month? I don't really get all of this stuff. There's a lot that we just love to throw out. Don't get me wrong. I love like an ice cream day, the day you're supposed to go eat ice cream, or like a donut
Margarita day.
Yes.
Yeah, like I'm really here for all of those. I know Joe Biden loves his ice cream days, but really, we got to have a day for every single thing out there. It's a little much. And then once everything has a day, it's just kind of like meaningless, and like nothing even has any meaning or any value anymore. To me, this whole thing kind of boiled down to what Joe Biden stands for in general, which is that he caters to the small, minuscule minority overall. He has never cared about the vast majority of people in this country. He's catering to the 0.001%. And you look at all of his policies and the way that they do exactly that. Look at his first executive order as president of the United States, shutting down the Keystone XL pipeline. Obviously pandering to the climate alarmists out there, because they said, oh, we can't possibly keep this open. This is bad for climate. Well, look at the snowball effect that had. Look at the fact that gas prices are sky high still in this country. That assisted inflation on the rise, and it's preventing it from coming down. It allowed Vladimir Putin to get a stranglehold on that entire sector on oil in Europe, and gave him the ability to invade Ukraine and the funding to invade Ukraine. It enriched Iran, which allowed Iran to, of course, aid Hamas in the horrific attack on Israel. All of these things boil down to Joe Biden catering to a very, very small minority of people, and to keep Trans Visibility Day on the day of Easter really stupid, and they're getting really hit for it, and it's very appropriate that they are getting hit for that. I think it was really dumb. Before we get off the transgender stuff here, and by the way, somebody else who thought that it was dumb, Caitlyn Jenner, who is a transgender woman. So let me just say, everybody thought that was a dumb idea, really mishandled by the White House, as is everything. Sacramento, Kay, I guess, decided that California isn't crazy enough. They're going to get a little bit crazier in Sacramento. They just declared themselves a sanctuary city for transgender people. And this is in response to 23 states restricting or banning gender affirming care. And you got to put that in air quotes for kids. So they're saying that there's some sort of a big threat out there to the transgender community. Everyone could come to the sanctuary city for transgender people, Sacramento, and they'll be safe there. This is a little bit absurd if you want my take on it. What'd you think of that?
Yeah, no, I've seen the curriculums in a lot of California schools. Doesn't surprise me that this came out of California. Like, I'm genuinely amazed that a lot of people who grew up there can read, because I think the government has done such a good job over decades, though. Like, I thought, everything that you were just saying about the stupidity and the confluence of all of these crises that really stem from that pandering to a very loud minority of people who are inventing problems for themselves because they're so stupid, they don't realize that there are real, genuine problems out there that we could be tackling. I mean, just off the top of my head, like women's issues, like most women's products, like our, the products that are exclusively used for us because of our biology, most of them weren't accurately tested with I'm trying to do this clean, but like women's health basically doesn't exist in this country. And most of the products that we use haven't actually been tested on women with our bodily fluids. And since
that makes you feel good. Wow.
Ever.
Okay.
Oh, half of these products also have horrific toxins in them. We haven't done any of the necessary research to figure out what those impacts actually are on our bodies. And yet here we are with an entire city. And let's be honest, this is going to spread to the rest of California. California is going to become a sanctuary state for parents who are so disgusting that they would mutilate the genitalia of their children because they can't be bothered to find real problems to solve and actually help humanity. Like, it is so disgusting how pervasive this ignorance is. And I don't think it just comes from Biden's pandering to this like minority of people who are just very loud. I think it also comes from the just absolute corruption of the members of the Democratic Party and the fact that they will take money from anyone to try and, win elections, and basically will do and say anything that any corporation will ask them to do, which will allow basically for this ignorance to perpetuate, because you don't get the necessary research for these. Anyway, I'm going to keep going off, but it's such a pervasive issue. And I'm terrified of how much further this goes if we keep ignoring real problems and keep trying to fix things that shouldn't exist in the first place.
Yeah, it's very like jazz hands to me, Chrissy, like what Kay is saying. They're like, look over here, here's this problem. Meanwhile, we are literally losing our standing on the world stage. Literally World War III about to break out right now. But look over here, we need a safe space for transgender people. No one is out to get transgender people, by the way. I think this is it's a little much. Ithaca, New York, by the way, is also a sanctuary city for transgender people. I was, of course, going through the comments as I like to do on stories like this, because I'm like, let me see what people really think about this. Somebody said, how about a sanctuary city for law-abiding citizens, Chrissy? Hello? Can we find a place like that in California, in New York? Could you give us a safe space there? People who just want to go about their life and follow the law and not get pushed in front of a subway or, have to walk through a bunch of people and, shooting up drugs in the middle of the city. Can we get a safe space? What's going on?
No, it's so true. But that is really what is going to bring people out to the polls come November of this year. There's really good data to show right now from, I believe it was the Trafalgar Group with Megyn Kelly, put out a poll saying that right now, the number one issue galvanizing voters right now is illegal immigration. Hence why you will see Democrats in the next couple of weeks ramp up their efforts to talk about abortion, because they know that that's the only issue they really have right now, because they're losing so badly on illegal immigration. So they are going to try and talk about, they are going to push rules about abortion, and they're going to push rules about sanctuary cities for for transgender people. And they're going to try to create problems that don't exist in order to galvanize their support, because right now they have a lot of apathetic voters that are not interested in what Joe Biden is doing because they see what's going on at the southern border. And maybe they're not inclined to pull the trigger for a Republican, but they can stay home. And that's just as much a vote for a Republican as it is for, just, staying home is not a vote
Yeah.
for Joe Biden, and it's going to be very detrimental for them. So I think that this is what they're going to try to do. I'm just not shocked that this is their game plan as we see the polls not looking good for them on hot button issues.
Yeah, just try to distract us all with the crazy stuff. Yeah, if you are not sure for whom you will vote, then stay home. That's good enough for me. If you think for a second you might actually vote for Joe Biden, yeah, you stay home. That's good. We'll take that one. Just before we get off this topic, here was my other favorite comment I saw. Somebody said, I find it fascinating that liberals think something as dynamic as the climate should not change, but something as absolute as gender should. Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it's
epic.
funny how that works. Speaking of Joe and the election and the real problem that the Democrats have on their hands, they had to bring out the big guns last week for Joe Biden because he can't stand on his own, ladies. He cannot go out and campaign for himself. No one is excited by Joe Biden. God knows they weren't in 2020. They sure as heck aren't in 2024. So they brought out Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. They all made it to New York City at Radio City Music Hall, had a big fundraiser. Meanwhile, there was a service going on for a slain police officer. That's where Donald Trump was, out on Long Island, while this crew was living it up, doing the whole thing at Radio City Music Hall. That's where Donald Trump was. I'll let people think about that one for a quick moment. But they raised $25 million. Apparently, it was around $500,000 for maybe the most expensive tickets. They went down from there. But James Clyburn from South Carolina was asked about this and why it was that they needed to have this huge, group of people come out. You had 3 presidents. There was a big thing. And he says it was a show of unity, Kay, and a show of defense of democracy. Are you kidding me? First of all, I'm going to let you respond to that. But he also said that Obama and Clinton are going to be all out on the campaign trail with Joe Biden. Go ahead. What you think?
Women don't want Bill Clinton anywhere. Like, okay, so you guys know this. We talk. I was raised in a very liberal household, and I remember being very young and asking my parents, why are you supporting a man who has done this to his wife? And why are you so it's just like, he's the president? Like, no. No, Bill Clinton is gross. I'm sorry. He just disgusts me as a human being. And every woman I know has that same skin crawl, ick. And people don't want Obama on the campaign trail because, I'm sorry, Obama drank the water in Flint, Michigan. You go pretty much anywhere outside of the cities in this country, and that's all people remember is this is a president who didn't actually care about real Americans. He just wanted to be famous and do his own thing. He didn't do, like you said, just the fact that these 3 men thought it was appropriate to go and have, and run these numbers by me again. Did you say it was $500,000 or $50,000 for a ticket?
500,000. That'll be $500,000 for one of the tickets. They went down. I think that was the top price, top tier ticket. I don't know what that got you. Probably a photo with all 3 of them. Very exciting. You put it up on the wall. But yeah, then they went down from there. Say $500,000 for this.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, it was $500,000 and they only raised 25. Sorry, I'm not even good at math, and that's cringe. That's not a lot of people showing up right there. But the fact that they thought that was a sign of solidarity, that was a sign of strength. I mean, no, you guys are a bunch of preppy losers. I'm done.
If I may, off of Kay's point, this bringing Bill Clinton out in front of everybody in this star-studded event at this same at the end of a month-long period where we saw Sean Combs or Diddy getting his entire house ransacked because he likely ran a sex trafficking operation in tandem with a lot of elite people, and the Quiet on Set documentary that came out, which has been explosive all over the internet for people in Gen Z, millennials alike. We have been binge watching this show that really talks about the power dynamics at Nickelodeon Studios and the way that child actors were assaulted at the hands of very powerful people. At the end of, constantly hearing about child predators out there, and then bringing out Bill Clinton at the end of this thinking this is a good idea. Maybe when everybody is thinking about how disgusting people in power are, we should bring out one of the most disgusting people that's ever held power. That's just a stupid move, like politically speaking, very dumb.
Well, all of it I thought was just dumb. I thought the fact that they went on with this on the day of this service for the police officer on Long Island, probably not in great taste. It actually goes to show you how weak Joe Biden is right now with the American people, because if you have to bring out two other presidents with the current president of the United States in order to raise money, they raised, like I said, $25 million. That tells me you are very worried about this guy getting out there on his own. Joe Biden can't go out there and really campaign. You have to pad him on either side with Obama and Clinton in order to get these people out. Here's what I want to say. They had 3 presidents at this event, $25 million. This coming Saturday, we have our first major fundraising event for the RNC and the Trump campaign. Right now, we have pledged $33 million, and we only have one president. We only need one guy. His name is Donald J. Trump. So they have had this whole song and dance on the Democrat side and from the DNC. Oh, we have all the money. The RNC, the Trump campaign, they don't have any money. They're broke. Well, y'all better start paying attention, because let's see who's got the most money at the end of this. And I'll remind people that it didn't matter in 2016 that Hillary Clinton outraised us by like 5 times as much money. We remember who won that election. It was Donald Trump. So they better get it together on the other side if they want even a snowball's chance. But quite frankly, I hope they don't. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Nobody move. We'll be right back. All right, I hate to interrupt the show, but I really want to share a new company with you called Googie Pet. Googie Pet is a total game changer for dogs. Pet owners care so much about their pets because they're our family. I've introduced my dogs to Googie Pet all natural vitamin chews, and the transformation has been amazing. Big brands often put profit before our pet's health, but Googie Pet is different. It started with 3 dog-loving brothers on a mission. Partnering with a PhD animal nutritionist, they created Googie Pet that focuses on bringing dog vitamin chews that are made in the USA, and every single ingredient has a purpose. That is to improve the health and happiness of our dogs. The Googie Pet 10-in-1 multivitamin chews can not only improve your pet's joint flexibility and energy levels, but can also make their coats softer and shinier than ever before. I like keeping my dogs moving and very active, no surprise. Good to know that I'm able to help them even more by adding this supplement to their daily routine. Googie Pet also offers different products like their hemp calming chews that can naturally ease their anxiety, making them calmer, happier, and healthier. I'm so passionate about creating positive changes in dogs, and I want to offer a special 20% discount offer just for you. Visit googipet.com/Lara Trump, and it will redirect you to buy these products straight from Amazon. You can also use code Lara Trump, LARATRUMP, at checkout for 20% off. You might have heard Mike Lindell and MyPillow no longer have the support of their box stores or shopping channels the way they used to. They've been part of the cancel culture, so they want to pass the savings directly onto you by having a $25 extravaganza. When Mike started MyPillow, it was just a one-product company, and with the help of his dedicated employees, they now have hundreds of products, some you may not even know about. To get the word out, I want to invite my listeners to check out their $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use My Pillows, just $25. My Pillow sandals, $25. Their 6-pack towel sets, you guessed it, $25. Their new 4-pack dish towels, $25. And for the first time ever, the premium My Pillow with all new Giza fabric is just $25, and orders over $75 will receive free shipping as well. This amazing offer won't last long. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code TRUMP or call 800-624-3945 today. Okay, so, we know, ladies, that sometimes there are things that trigger folks on the left. Sometimes it could be something as simple as, I don't know, an American flag. Remember who was it? The New York Times columnist or somebody who went out to the Hamptons and got very offended a couple summers ago because there were American flags. She felt unsafe. It was a problem for her. Apparently, it is now a problem that you have these FDNY trucks, these fire department trucks in the city of New York who have flags on them. These are the thin red line flags, and we've all seen them. They're like a black and white flag, and in the middle it's got the red line to denote that these officers, these firefighters, you have the thin blue line for the police officers, you have the thin red line for the firefighters. They are giving up their lives sometimes in the line of duty. And indeed, Ladder Company 7 out of the East Village was asked by a local councilwoman, Carlina Rivera is her name, to remove the thin red line flag. And this was actually representative of 6 men from this ladder company who died on September 11th, 2001, because a local resident complained that it was fascist, Kay, to have the thin red line flag on a fire truck in the city of New York. I think these folks oftentimes need a reminder as to the definition of fascism. This is a term they like to throw around a lot. I'm getting amped up. I'm hitting my mic here because it drives me absolutely crazy. When in doubt on the left, they will throw the word fascist out, Kay. They'll say anything. Donald Trump is fascist. Those on the right are fascist. Right? Fascism, a noun, a governmental system led by a dictator having complete power, forcibly suppressing opposition and criticism. Remind you of anybody? Joe Biden? Right?
The irony.
But just like the fact that we've come to this place where somebody is so ignorant, Kay, that they asked for a flag on a fire truck that represented men who gave their lives on the most horrific terror attack on American soil. Where are we in this country that people are even upset about that? And that a councilwoman actually was like, hey, could you take the flag off because it's offending some people?
I mean, the real issue here is the councilwoman, right? Like, that is someone who the people have elected. Her first and only response to whoever this Karen was who called her complaining is, I can't actually say it because there's like words that I want to use that like I'm not allowed to use.
You
in
got
these
it.
contexts.
A Karen is the right definition there. Yeah. Some Karen. And I hate, God bless anyone named Karen out there. We love you still. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I know some great women called Karen, but come on, it's a colloquial term. Don't get offended. Don't be a Karen. But no, I think that like her only response in this situation should have been, oh, I'm sorry you don't understand. Let me explain. This is what the flag represents. Now that you understand that, you can't be offended anymore. Because like John and I were driving around our new neighborhood, just kind of like checking to see what people's flags were like. But we live out in the country, so we're
gotta know. You gotta know who your neighbors are. Kay. It's important.
We're surrounded by farmers, and they're brilliant. They know what's going on in the real world because they feed all of us, so they have to figure out what's going on with all of us. But he saw one of those flags. I think it had the red line and the blue line. So like red for fire department, blue I think is for police officers. And he goes, oh no, because he didn't know what it was. And I said, no, babe, that's what that means. Like it's support, like it's good, it's sensible. That's probably like a cop or a firefighter, maybe both, who lived there. This is wonderful. I'm so glad that they're going to be our neighbors. He goes, oh, thank goodness. I was terrified that they were going to be, some of those. And I think that there is like definitely some education that needs to be going on. And I don't think that needs to necessarily come from a place of like, what do you like, you idiot? Like, I don't think we need to necessarily be mean with it. Like we can be nice. But the fact that this councilwoman didn't even bother to do that. She was like, oh, one person complained, so I'm going to go and complain to the guys who volunteer to save my life when I'm an idiot and something goes wrong. Like on the worst day of my life, those people come to save me, and I'm going to ask them to take a flag off their thing because I'm too stupid to understand. Yeah, recall, bye. You're good. I'm done. Bye.
We got to stop the knee-jerk reactions to stuff, Chrissy. It is so problematic. one person has one small issue with something and everybody's got to rearrange their life for these
I
people.
know.
No, you
I
got to be
know.
a little uncomfortable sometimes with stuff. And really, a flag on a fire truck, that's the problem. Somebody really went out of their way and made a formal complaint here. I want to give a shout out to Lara Kavanaugh, who was the fire commissioner. She reversed this decision and was like, yeah, no, we're not going to take a symbol of our heroes who died in the line of duty on this awful day in America. We're not taking that off of a fire truck. So thank you, Lara Kavanaugh, for reversing that decision. But man, everybody is really quick, Chrissy, just to like bend a knee to anything. You get one nasty comment on social media and people are like, oh, let me tell you something. You should come look at some of my stuff. This is why I turn off all my Google alerts, because I quite frankly don't care what these losers have to say. I know what I'm doing is right, and people need to use a little common sense in situations like this.
Right. But what you do is you have this thing called a moral compass that guides you. And a lot of our politicians, while yes, of course, it's important that they listen to their constituents, they don't go in with a moral compass saying, hey, I should and I shouldn't do this. And you voted me in because I have a moral compass and I explained what that looks like to you while I was campaigning. And you put me into office now because I have these morals, I have these values, and I will maintain them throughout it. And somebody with a moral compass would have looked at that and said, excuse me, Karen, touch grass politely, like, because these are my values and I'm going to uphold those values. But we don't do that anymore. We've gotten to a point where it's a little bit close to mob justice, and it's a little out of control.
Yeah, it's out of control. I think that this is something that people are so sick of, though. I think it's another reason they're like, can we just get a little common sense back in this country? Like, what are we doing with this stuff? It's insane. Something else that common sense would dictate is that if you have an open southern border, you're going to have people coming in, right? Like, this is basic stuff. We have a law on the books, a federal law that says you cannot illegally cross our border. Right now, 13.7 million illegals likely in the country. Okay, that's on average 172,000 a month. And actually, the last year or so, that monthly average has been sky high. It's been close to 250,000 per month. So it just keeps going up. There are so many issues that we see as a result of this, Kay, and we talk about it all the time. It is the number one issue that people are voting on right now. When you look at the primaries on the Republican side, that's the one thing people are like, I need somebody in this White House who is actually going to secure our border. They remember who actually did it. It was Donald Trump. You have a situation where you have cities like New York who are thinking about changing now. Eric Adams is finally saying, oh, wait a minute, maybe the sanctuary city status we gave ourselves, not such a great call, because it's costing the city of New York $12 billion over the course of 3 years to deal with the migrant crisis there. It is not just a border issue anymore. They are going all over the country. It is an every state issue right now. Denver is a city that has had a lot of issues. They have a hospital that has basically had to shut down because they're like, we can't even take care of people who can actually pay us to come in here because the illegal immigrant situation is so bad. They are now warning new illegal immigrants that they have to leave the sanctuary city of Denver and move elsewhere because they are saying that their lack of resources means asylum seekers there will suffer. There was a guy who literally walked around and in Spanish was saying, he was some official from the area, the opportunities are over, he said in Spanish. New York gives you more. Chicago gives you more. So I suggest you go there where there is longer term shelter. There are also more opportunities there. The city of Denver has allocated around $100 million due to the illegal immigration problem. And they're literally now begging, Kay, for these people to go elsewhere. Here's my question. What did you think was going to happen when you designated yourself as a sanctuary city? Herein lies the stupidity of all of this.
I mean, it is stupidity. I think it's also a really smart way to hollow out our cities. Like, if you sort of look at this from a long-term perspective, if you can replace current residents within the city with government run programs. So, the government, I can absolutely see them coming in and doing forced takeovers, properties of businesses, all in the name of protecting the illegal immigrants. when really it's just a means to further move down that line of fascism. And it's so crazy to me, the number of liberal people I know from back in California, and also the number of immigrants I know. Like, I actually don't know a single immigrant in the US who would ever vote Democrat if they
You mean a
could.
legal immigrant, people
No,
who came here and followed the
like people
process.
like me.
Yeah,
People who
exactly.
did this legitimately. And
Yes.
it's not even necessarily because like of a sort of macro ideological perspective. Like, I came into this country under Obama, I renewed under Trump, and then I renewed again under Biden. Obama and Biden, that process cost me 10 times, I mean, not literally 10 times more, but significantly more. It was a massively drawn out process where like they needed extra information that they didn't actually need because they got it in the first place. I know people who have had their, like, smart people who contribute huge amounts to the economy have their green cards suspended just because they couldn't get the paperwork through under Biden. My attorney called me when I was renewing my O1 visa under the Trump administration and asked me if I was a spy because the process was so smooth and so affordable. She thought that I must be a spy and that I'd forced her to create some or to do a felony because I didn't register as a foreign asset. And she then realized, oh, wait, this is just the process that this man that she didn't vote for put in that has helped all of her clients in a way that, it's the reason that I have my life here. And so I think it's so interesting, the number of liberals who are sort of very anti-Donald Trump because they think that he's anti-immigrant, when that couldn't be further from the truth. Like, what I see is someone who is anti-lawbreaker and anti-stupid and doesn't want the country to be taken over by people who don't actually value what real Americans who are born and raised here have done to make it so incredible.
Yeah. And you look at the things like fentanyl pouring over the border. It's literally the number one killer of the youth in this country right now, Chrissy. The fentanyl situation. It's all coming up through the southern border. Obviously, it's manufactured in China. You look at just the number of Americans and the stories that we hear about, at least I think about how many we don't hear about, where you have American citizens who are killed, like Laken Riley, by an illegal immigrant, someone who never should have been here. And oftentimes these people have a rap sheet that's a mile long. They should have been locked up and they should have been deported a long time ago. The Democrats like to throw around the term as a negative at Donald Trump, bloodbath. Donald Trump has said that it will be a bloodbath if Joe Biden is elected. He was referencing the auto industry and the problems it will cause there. But something else that I would say is a bloodbath is our southern border. It is horrific what these people have to go through to come here. There is nothing nice about it. There is nothing humane at all in that process, allowing these people to come here, giving them hope to come here. People die on the way. Most of the women over half the women are sexually assaulted or raped. We have a new website that the RNC put out. It's called BidenBloodbath.com. Go look it up, watch the videos. It is so upsetting to know that we have an administration and a president right now who is actively aiding people in coming here illegally, Chrissy. You have problems like in the city of Boston. Boston's another one. They've had people sleeping in Logan Airport because they have nowhere to put people. Now they have a homeless veteran shelter. I will say it was scheduled for demolition. But instead of staying open and allowing homeless veterans, people who fought for our country, to stay there, they are now housing illegal immigrants in this center. You have cities like Chicago where the mayor there, Brandon Johnson, won't even actually say how much money it's costing the city of Chicago to have their illegal immigration crisis there. Some people are saying that on 3 hotels alone, there was some report that came out that it was $1 million a week. So that would average out to somewhere around $17 million a year for these 3 hotels. It is insane what is going on. And I think that even the most liberal people right now look at this, and this was sold to them as this is the kind thing and the humane thing to do for people. Chrissy, they can't possibly think that when they look at these situations, when they look at our great cities in this country being overrun, when they look at the problems that these people have just to get here, and then the way it taxes every system in our country, they can't possibly think this was a good idea at this point.
No, it's humans are very justice oriented, right? So, regardless of whether they think it's the humane thing, when you compare what's going on with the southern border and the way that illegal immigrants are treated and compare that to Americans, like you said, maybe former veterans or just American citizens in general, it becomes really powerful. For instance, there was a riot that took place at the southern border where migrants just slammed into National Guardsmen. They really created this whole riot. There's very, very public video about this that you can go and watch, and it's wild. And a judge just ruled that those people can now be released with no cost bail because for whatever reason they're just allowed to enter our country.
Why not at this point? Yeah, let them all in. They're doing it anyway.
And it comes at the exact same time that we see people in the state of Tennessee, Christians who are just singing hymns outside of an abortion clinic on trial for what they did 3 years ago, seeing how long they're going to be in jail for singing church songs outside of an abortion clinic. And yes, it's very powerful what's happening at our southern border. But when you compare that with what's happening and what the Biden administration is doing to American citizens, that is really where the power is drawn in. And that's where justice-oriented humans are going to look at this and say, I can't pull the trigger to vote for Biden because this is how Americans are treated versus illegal immigrants under this administration.
It is so upsetting to see. I hope people have paid attention. Busiest border spots before we go. Tucson, Arizona right now is number one. I know everybody thinks it's the Del Rio, Texas is number two. That one is always top of mind for me. Tucson, Arizona. Listen to number 3, San Diego, California. Number 4, El Paso, New Mexico. I guess I didn't even know there was an El Paso, New Mexico. This is not just Texas. This is hitting places like San Diego, like Arizona. We have got to get a handle on this. Here's what I can guarantee everyone out there. Day one of Donald Trump's administration, Trump 47 we're talking about, his second term in office, I can guarantee you will see an immediate action taken on our southern border. With Donald Trump in office, we had one of the lowest border crossings in the history of this country. We will get back there. We're going to get back there quickly. We're going to finish that wall. People are taking this more seriously now, and I hope those out there that have been asleep wake up because we cannot continue on in this fashion. I want to say thank you to Chrissy and Kay. Thanks for joining us this evening. You ladies are wonderful as always. And Kay, congratulations on your engagement. We didn't even acknowledge at the top of the show. But congratulations to you. How long did it take for him to pop the question? How long have you been together?
We're together for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years this month. But Chrissy knows this. I think if we hadn't had the 2023 that we'd had, we would have been done through the wedding, baby on the way by now.
Oh.
So we had a little bit of a hold up that wasn't anything to do with us, but I'm just stoked. He popped the question, took me to a Cat Williams show. Best night of my life. It was fantastic.
I love it. Well, it only took my husband 5.5 years to ask me to marry him. So you may be on a better trajectory, but I will say we really knew each other well before we got married. That's the good news. And we are on our 10-year wedding anniversary this year because I'm that old. It is terrifying. All right, Chrissy and Kay, thank you both for joining us. To everybody at home, as always, thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. We'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View.
And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for for free activation so that you can get a great sell plan and feel good about doing it.